What's going on, everyone? No one had a worse NBA Finals than Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I mean, both teams that they were on, the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors, faced each other in the NBA Finals this year, and the Golden State Warriors proved once again that they didn't need Kevin Durant to win a championship. And so Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they really underwhelmed this year. I mean, they were eliminated in the first round. There was all kinds of messes going on behind the scenes. They ended up trading James Harden. They did get back Ben Simmons and a couple other key pieces, Andre Drummond. They got Seth Curry. So they definitely do have some core players and some key players that could potentially improve them for the future. But ultimately, I think Kevin Durant, this really hurt in many ways. I don't think it's as big of a deal as many people are putting out there, but you can't tell me that Kevin Durant doesn't feel some spite towards that of like, dang, I really underwhelmed. And then Kyrie Irving, again, every team that he's gone to has gotten better once they got rid of him. And he's just a guy that is so inconsistent, plays when he wants to play, and it's just a big issue with the Brooklyn Nets, especially this past season. And it's understandable that it would end in a sweep. But given the circumstances and given that both of their old teams ended up facing each other in the NBA Finals, you got to imagine that they are going to light a fire under these two players. You got to imagine that the two of them are having conversations right now going, we need to get back. We need to prove that we are more than those two teams, that we need to get to an NBA Finals. And to some credit, they've had a lot of struggles, right? The first year together, neither of them played due to injury. The following year, it was just a big mess. They've had the James Harden issue, the Kyrie issue. COVID was a thing. So, they haven't really had a fair shake yet. But this next season, there should be no excuses. And especially since you have Ben Simmons and, like I said, a lot of really good quality role players, they should be in contention. So the question is, will Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving actually be able to win an NBA championship and achieve that goal? And I know many people are looking at it as like they just got swept by the Boston Celtics. There's no way that they're going to be a contender. But this last year was a really rough year for them as a whole, as its entirety. Ben Simmons is going to elevate this team tremendously, more so than I think even James Harden. But there are a lot of questions with Ben Simmons that we'll get into in a little bit in this video. But primarily, these two guys, they need to step up. They need to have that fire in them. Primarily Kyrie Irving, right? Because Kevin Durant, I mean, he's played, he showed up. He was a foot on the line away from potentially being in the NBA Finals the previous year. So it's very likely that they can get back there. And this last series against the Boston Celtics, they did one thing. They said, we're going to shut down Kevin Durant. We're just going to throw everybody at Kevin Durant and make everyone else beat us because I don't believe that everyone else can beat us. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, they were triple teaming him, double teaming him. They were in his body, everybody. I mean, they were throwing all kinds of different defensive schemes at Kevin Durant and essentially just leaving guys wide open. And the problem was Kevin Durant is that spark. He is the guy that boosts everybody's confidence and gets everyone, in the game, involved. And is the guy that sort of sets the tone for the team. Kyrie Irving isn't really that guy. I feel in many ways he's lost in that locker room. Many people, I would imagine, aren't very high on Kyrie Irving. I mean, even the organization itself isn't very high on Kyrie Irving. And there's a lot of talks about potentially letting him go or trading him or just trying to get rid of him, which that's another discussion in and of itself, which I have touched on several videos. I'll link some videos down in the description down below. But ultimately, let's assume that they at least go one more year. Let's do 1 year. Kyrie Irving opts in. We'll see what happens this next year. I do believe that the Brooklyn Nets could be in the NBA Finals next year. I believe that they have the talent, they have the depth, everyone's healthy. They're going to pick up a guy or two that they wouldn't have otherwise just because they are a contender. Hopefully you get Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant for a full season together, which we haven't gotten since they came to Brooklyn together, right? The whole point of the two of them going to Brooklyn together was to team up to win championships because Kyrie and Kevin Durant both wanted to prove that they didn't need LeBron James. They didn't need Steph Curry. They didn't need, these big name organizations with stacked teams to go win a championship, that the two of them together were enough to win a championship. And we'll see if that could be the case. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Brooklyn was to win the NBA Finals next year, even with just what they have on paper. Because I really do. I think you can't rule out these two guys. They are both elite scorers. If you have a fully bought in Kyrie Irving, which is bigger said than done, right? The big issue is getting Kyrie to buy in, getting Kyrie to actually play basketball for a living rather than just like, I think I'm just going to take the day off today. And that's a big problem. And I do think Kevin Durant needs to be that example. He needs to get into Kyrie Irving. The problem is I just don't think Kevin Durant is ever going to do that. I don't think Kevin Durant is the type of guy that's going to be, like, dude, come on, I came here for you. Like, I need you. I need you to show up. I need you to deliver. We need to prove. We need to show. Look what just happened. The Boston Celtics were in the NBA Finals. You just left that team. I was on the Golden State Warriors. I just left that team. One team won, the other team lost. But come on, dude, we got to get together and we got to make this happen. We got to prove and show we are a legitimate contender. And I do believe that they have the talent. I mean, they're arguably the best duo in the entire NBA. So together, I do believe that they can. It's just, will they mentally be there? Will they both physically buy in and mentally buy in? And primarily, like, what kind of pieces are they going to fill out? Patty Mills, Seth Curry, you get Joe Harris back, Andre Drummond, Nick Claxton. They have depth. They have players. They have guys that can be very huge for these two. And they have more than enough talent to win an NBA championship. I mean, on paper, they are very talented. And I don't even mean like the Blake Griffin and, the LaMarcus Aldridge. Those guys are essentially end of the bench players at this point. Although Blake Griffin really did have some solid games and some solid moments this season. But, I mean, realistically, they're just there to fill up a roster spot. But I'm just talking about like their core guys. They have like 7 or 8 guys on paper that are some of the best rosters on paper in the entire league. So there is no excuse. There's no reason for them to have gotten swept. I just think it was a bad season that led into the ultimate bad result, and therefore they have to live with it. And all the issues with James Harden, you trade James Harden before you get into the playoffs and all that stuff. It's hard to recover. It's hard to, when you see your season just sort of going down the toilet. You were supposed to be, you were the favorite to win the NBA championship this year, and now you're playing for a play-in spot. Like, it's hard to really want to get up and actually make something happen. And so hopefully with this offseason and a full buy-in, they'll be successful. But as I was saying with, Ben Simmons, I think, is going to be huge for this team if he buys in and if he plays. Because much like Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons is kind of following that trajectory. Now, I don't want to get too much into Ben Simmons because clearly there is some injuries. He had some surgery, stuff like that. Clearly his mental state is not where it needs to be, and hopefully he can overcome that. So if Ben Simmons can be the Philadelphia 76ers Ben Simmons with Kyrie and with Kevin Durant, this team could be monstrous. I actually think that this could be a better fit than when they had James Harden, if James Harden was playing like James Harden. Now, because the thing is that Ben Simmons is the third option, but he's like the perfect third option because everything that he is good at, Brooklyn needs, and everything he's bad at, Brooklyn already has to make up for the lack of what he's good at or what he's bad at, right? I mean, he's not a scorer. He's not a guy that's going to go get you 20 a game. I mean, he can. He can get you 15 a game, but he's not a guy that's shooting jump shots, knocking down threes. And the problem was when he was in Philly, they needed him to be that guy. They needed him to be James Harden, essentially. But he's not. He's not a guy that can, pull, step back, knock down a three or get, he's just big, athletic, just able to be in the dunker spot and put himself in a position to get easy buckets, which will work for Brooklyn, right? Because all the attention that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are going to draw, Ben Simmons is going to greatly benefit from. But not just that, he is a great passer. He's a willing passer. You have a guy who is, like I said, a willing passer next to Kyrie and Kevin Durant. That is huge. Because, I mean, even when Harden came to this team, the big question was, who's playing point guard? And then Kyrie Irving came out and said, I talked to Harden. I said, you're going to be the point guard. I'm going to be the shooting guard. Well, this is perfect. You got Ben Simmons with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Seth Curry, you could have Drummond down low or Nick Claxton, whoever you want. And then, so you have basically 4 shooters, 3 shooters, and then you have Ben Simmons. I mean, all the different sets and schemes and things like that they can run. And the defense that he plays, he can guard the best guy on the other team. And so now Kevin Durant doesn't have to do that. Because what we saw in the Milwaukee series, a while back, Kevin Durant got exhausted because he's guarding all the best players on Milwaukee and has to put up 35 a game. It's an impossible task at his age. If he was 23, yeah, probably, but now he's not, So him having that guy in Ben Simmons who is perfect at everything that Brooklyn needs. The defense, the size, the passing ability, the rebounding, all of those things. Ben Simmons, I think, could average easily a triple-double with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, night in and night out, because he's going to get so many easy assists because, he can just drive and kick to Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and they're such great shooters. They're going to knock it down. You got Seth Curry, you got Joe Harris. You got all these guys, Patty Mills. You got guys that can knock down shots. Ben Simmons is going to generate so many easy assists. He's probably going to be in the dunker position on offense. Therefore, he's going to end up getting those easy buckets. Kevin Durant is a willing passer. Kyrie can be when he wants, though he is more of a scoring guard than a true point guard. These 3 are probably the best fit that you could ask for. And so this coming season, assuming everyone's healthy, there is no excuse. If they are all healthy for a majority of the season, they should be, at worst, a top 3 seed. Because they are a veteran team. They don't really care. They just want to get into the playoffs, right? So if they are a top 3 seed, I'm going to be very disappointed in them. And look, I am not a Brooklyn Nets fan by any means, but as an NBA fan and as somebody that loves the NBA, I have to be real. I have to be honest. And I mean, this team on paper is arguably the best team in the NBA. Now, chemistry and things like that are a huge factor, as we just saw with the NBA Finals, right? It was a young team that didn't have a ton of chemistry, that was very predictable offensively, playing a team that has all the chemistry in the world, that has been there 1,000 times, and is, and has that fluid motion offense. They're unpredictable. They throw several different things at you, and that was the big difference. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think, they could win the NBA championship? I'm with it. I do think that Kyrie and Kevin Durant can get it done. They get a healthy Ben Simmons. Kyrie Irving buys in. You already got Kevin Durant. We're in it. We're good. We're there. Or do you think, no, like this team is a disaster. The Kyrie and KD experiment hasn't worked. But, I mean, we have to be real. If we're going to talk about it, we have to be real, because as much as it hasn't worked yet, you got to take everything that's happened the last several years into account. And a lot of that is Kyrie Irving's own doing. So, I'm not saying like you can't be critical of Kyrie, but there have been a lot of just unforeseen circumstances that nobody thought would happen, right? I mean, you knew that they were going to miss the first year, and then they come back, and then, James Harden gets hurt, and then, and they just acquire him at the deadline, and then you have, like I said, Kevin Durant was a foot on the line away from very likely being in the NBA Finals, right? So they already proven that they're capable of getting there. It's just, can they do that again? But love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.